Get ready for a no BS approach to health and fitness. This is NBS Fitness Radio.
Welcome back to NBS Fitness Radio. I'm here with my good buddy, Jeff Smith. Jeff Smith is a mentor of mine through Two Brain Business and has helped me a lot with my gym and my growth as an entrepreneur, my growth as a person. And Jeff is a very busy man. How many kids do you have?
4 under 9, man.
Yes. And has multiple businesses, and he travels a significant amount as well. And so I figured he'd be the perfect person to bring on to discuss training while traveling, maintaining your health and fitness while on the move. So, Jeff, kind of give us a quick intro to yourself and kind of like your history with regards to fitness, and then we'll kind of talk a little bit more about the specifics of what you do while you're traveling.
Right on, man. Thanks for having me, David. I appreciate it. My name's Jeff Smith from Houston, Texas. I'm a husband, a father, entrepreneur, real estate investor. I own 41 properties of my own, and I'm syndicated on another 28 properties that I'm the lead investor on and in charge of. So I'm responsible for 68 properties, rental properties. And we own a gym here in Houston. My wife does fitness and nutrition online, and I run a couple different masterminds as well. So one of which you are in, which you referenced, and that's the Two Brain Business Tinker program. So that's how we connected, and it's been a pleasure. But yes, I mean, the topic is traveling and nutrition and fitness. My background is I played football through college, much like you. Not the same level you did. And, but I did play college football. And then, after that, I went into, special operations in the military. So physical fitness and health and wellness have been a part of my life forever. And that kind of transitioned itself into the gym, and it's been a passion of mine forever. So, it's a staple in everything that we do with regards to how we kind of live our lives as well. So, I mean, we imprint those basic habits on our children. But freedom is a core value of ours. And so my wife and I have kind of engineered a life that allows us the freedom to come and go wherever we want to go. But one of the things about having everything you want is you still have to maintain that discipline to a healthy lifestyle. And one of my things is I'm kind of like a life hacker, like part-time, not super serious about it, but I would like to be a little more serious about it. But I do think health is super important for longevity and cancer avoidance and all of that stuff. But we RV and travel around all the time, and we're about to leave Tuesday actually for another week. And so dialing in that discipline and maintaining preparation is the big part of it. But I think you and I were talking offline, and I've done 75 hard. We're in the middle of phase 2 of the Live Hard program and things like that. And so I maintain all of that stuff while we travel, and we travel a lot. So
how often do y'all travel?
Man, we are on the road at least one solid month every year. We try to take a trip every single month, and those individual trips are usually never less than 5 days.
Okay.
So,
and is it primarily through the RV?
It is now, because I haven't flown since fucking COVID started, because I won't, I won't fly. So, right. We've been driving everywhere.
Okay.
For the last 2.5 years. So,
okay. So I mean, obviously you're traveling monthly, primarily through the RV now. What does fitness look like for you on an RV road trip?
I can speak to planes too, just so you know, because like I used to travel monthly and I used to fly everywhere all the time as well. So like if we need to get on that topic, we certainly can.
I like to talk about both because I feel like obviously RVs might be somewhat easier in the fact that you can take some stuff with you that you couldn't take on a plane. So let's talk about the RV first, then we'll talk about the plane. How do you prep, and like what's a training program look like on an RV trip?
Yeah, man, the RV's easy. It's really actually a lot easier than people think. We've got access to a refrigerator and other things. So, I mean, it's just a matter of preparation at that point. You can pack your cold cuts. You can break down your macros, protein, carbs, and fats. And my wife is very good about prepping. And so that does wonders for us. Like, I mean, we're goofy. Like I get like Pyrex for Christmas and like stuff like that because I enjoy being organized because like you talk about, I am incredibly busy, and anything that I can systemize and kind of put a process to makes my life easier, makes me not have to think about things because I just won't eat. Like if I'm not prepared, I just won't eat. It'll be 5 o'clock in the afternoon and I'll just keep on working through the day and have nothing in the afternoon or the whole day. So
before the trip, like will you game plan your meals and like prep it all out beforehand? Like, are you making your containers and putting them in the refrigerator, or do you just kind of, or you shopping on the way, or both?
We do both. We prep probably like the first 3 to 5 days. But usually the way we break our stuff down is like, here's a tub of chicken.
Gotcha.
And here is a tub of vegetables.
Yeah.
And here's like a bushel of bananas. I eat a shitload of bananas. She doesn't eat any bananas. So like we break down our stuff a little bit differently, but like plus I'm like, she likes variety. I can eat the same exact meal, like 365 days straight. And doesn't matter to me. So I'm a little simpler than she is, which is why she is okay with spending the time prepping stuff because she likes that variety of tastes and things like that.
Okay. What about on the plane? What did you do for nutrition when you were flying?
Man, that is a whole lot tougher. And you just really have to be as simplistic as possible because I mean, you're getting your fats from nuts. You're getting like, I mean, what do you have access to at an airport? Like, otherwise you're having to do the best prep you can, but you can't do 3 days worth of prep on a plane. And most of the time when we get somewhere though, our first stop is like worst case a Walgreens, best case like a Whole Foods.
Yeah.
And you kind of determine whether you have a mini fridge or not. And if you don't have a mini fridge, it gets a little dicier.
Yeah.
And you have to be reasonable with like good, better, best as well, right? Like beef jerky is sometimes going to be a source of protein.
Yep.
And like it's not what you want to eat all the time. It's got a ton of sodium in it and everything else, but like it's better than some alternatives, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember went on like a 3-day trip one time and I prepped my food and I had like one of those cooler bags that I checked in, and I realized like it was a guarantee if you put something that's freezing cold in a bag that they're going to take your bag apart in the TSA.
Yeah.
But, it's if you're going on any type of lengthy trip, the one nice thing is you could, if you needed to, you could check in the cooler.
Yep.
And we freeze it, check it in.
Yep. And I go as far as like where I stay, certain places. Like if you're going to be a place for a while, I mean, you can look for suites, things like that.
Yeah.
Because suites, you can call ahead, make sure you have a refrigerator. If you don't have a refrigerator, sometimes they'll put one in your room if you call ahead and ask. Other places, I mean, they have kitchenette options and things like that you can actually pay for upgrades, and they're not exorbitant. That just goes into the preparation of things. Like, what do you have access to? And then like, I hop in the car at the airport. I don't rent cars generally ever. But I'll have the driver take me to a grocery store. Like when we went to Florida last year, were you at that trip?
I didn't
in
go to that
May.
one.
No,
Destin.
Destin. Like the first thing we did was go to Publix and like stock our room and with food and things like that. Cause otherwise you're just going to be reactionary. So like being proactive is the key. So like what is the setup of your room? If you're prepared and you know what that's going to look like, then you can then be proactive about getting to a store where you can make good choices and then stock your room. And then you're prepared to not go eat the mini bar or have to call Uber Eats at 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah. Have you ever looked into pre-ordering meals that haven't been delivered?
You mean like the macro breakdown, like fitness meals or like
Yeah.
no,
I was going to be here. I'll have them ordered and delivered to the hotel.
no, but that's super interesting. We've actually had the closest thing we ever got to that was we ordered groceries at Disney World.
Okay.
Through Amazon, and they brought everything. They would bring beer, they would bring everything, which is crazy, but but they would bring all kinds of food and stuff like that as well through Amazon grocery. It must be their Whole Foods partnership or whatever.
We use a meal prep company for most of our food, at least our food during the day, and they're a local company, but I know there are like national companies that will freeze it, send it to you in a cooler box.
Yep.
That'd probably be a good option too. If you were flying somewhere, you knew you were going to have a microwave and a fridge, you could at least like pre-order it, have it at your hotel before you got there.
Yeah, that would be perfect. I mean, I would say the only reason that we don't do that is because my wife cooks, and that would be perfect for the RV, but you have to balance, like you have to order each of your macro breakdown and things like that.
Yeah.
We just have never really gotten into that, but makes sense.
Yeah.
And if you're talking about being out of town for a week, I mean, it's not crazy to spend $12 a meal. Because if you eat out, you're going to spend a lot more than that for one. And you could just get it delivered to the front desk of the hotel. It can beat you there.
Yeah, 1,000%. So what about for training? What would you do? Well, first kind of talk about 75 hard and like what the requirements are for that. And then like the other individual pieces that you're on now, and then how you've been able to kind of implement that while traveling.
Yeah, man, that's just like my thing. I just I think I've done 75 hard 3 or 4 times all the way through, which is 75 days of 2 workouts a day, 2 45-minute workouts. One has to be outdoors. You have to stick to a specific diet. There's no parameters around that. You have to choose a diet and then stick to it 100%, 0 deviations from it. So if you do paleo, if you do keto, if you do, I always just do strict macro breakdown, like for whatever I'm trying to do. If I'm trying to gain weight, if I'm trying to lean out or maintain or whatever. My wife's a precision nutrition coach, and so she just does all of that shit for me. But I break down the food and I can weigh and measure, and I know what my stuff looks like. So, I mean, I can do that myself, but depending on what my goal is when I go into the 75, she sets up my macros. Then what did I not say? Reading. You have to read 10 pages of the physical book. It's got to be nonfiction. Then drink a gallon of water and take a progress picture every single day.
Okay. And then what's the one you're on now?
No alcohol, no cheat meals ever during 75 days. What I'm doing right now is the Live Hard program. It's 1 calendar year. So you've got 365 days to do all of it. You start with 75 hard, and then there's 3 phases behind it. Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Phase 1 is, so you do 75 hard to start it. Then you can go straight into phase 1 if you want. And it's 75 hard, all the components of 75 hard, plus a 5-minute cold shower, plus 10-minute visualization, every day. And then I think those are the only 2 additions to that one. So it's all the 75 hard stuff. Then you have to wait 30 days. You have to take a break for 30 days. You can't go straight back to back on this. And then phase 2 is 30 days of just the 75 hard components, that's what I'm doing right now. And I'm on day 26, I think, of phase 2. Then I won't do anything for the next few months. And on July 5th, I have to start phase 3. And phase 3 is everything to do with everything that's in phase 1. Plus, you have to carry on a conversation with a stranger every single day.
Okay.
And it can't be just like, hi, how you doing? You have to actually like have a conversation with a stranger each and every day. And then you have to.
How do you maintain that? Because like there are days I don't see any strangers.
You have to make it happen. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then random act of kindness you have to do.
Okay.
And then the final thing is no, that's it. It's all those components of phase 1, random act of kindness, and the conversation with the stranger every day. But you only have the final 30 days to do it. Like, so my failure date, so I have July 5th to August 5th. And that 30 days. So if there's any deviation, there's no time to start over.
Right. So
like that is phase 3, and I have to finish it in 30. I only have 30 days to finish it.
What
that would be my year, because I started August 5th.
So it's 75 hard, phase 1, and basically 75 hard again, which is phase 2, and then phase 3.
Yep.
What of all those, what is the most difficult one to maintain? I know what mine would be, but I want to hear yours.
You mean of the tasks?
Of all the tasks, which one is the hardest?
I don't know, man. Like none of them are really hard. They're just kind of tedious. I did not like the cold showers because it was 5 minutes. I didn't really care about the cold. Yeah. It was like I don't even take 5-minute showers. So like for me, I was just like, Jesus, why are we in here so long? And yeah, but I think the talking to strangers is going to be the most difficult thing, which isn't difficult, but for the exact reasons that you expressed. Like I'm going to physically have to leave my house every day to find a stranger to talk to.
Yeah.
Like it's going to have to be intentional.
Yeah, 1,000%. I was like, the one I would probably goof up would be the progress pick.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would 100% forget to do that every day. I mean, I would have my reminder to do it, but
that's why you have to, like that and reading, you have to get out of the way early. The progress pick though is easy to be like, man, did I do that today or was that yesterday? It like all blends together and like it's crazy, but I really enjoy doing the program. I don't know that I'll do it again, but it's had a lot of benefits for sure. Definitely 75 hard does for sure for me, because it allows me to focus mentally. Yeah. Like I get a lot done when I'm doing it. So anytime I have like a slump of productivity or I feel like I'm stuck, I just go back to it and do it. And
yeah. So when I kind of started preparing for the Ninja Gym and Location 2, I didn't do 75 hard, but like I started doing whatever the maintainable version of that to me, which is I work out twice a day, Monday through Friday.
Okay.
I've kind of always followed a nutrition plan, but Saturday I purposely don't follow the plan. And it kind of depends on where I'm at. So like if I'm in a caloric deficit, then on Saturday I eat a lot more food.
Yeah.
Currently I'm in a caloric excess. So Saturday I just basically barely eat at all because I'm so tired from eating all day. But I do like the sauna cold almost every day. I read out every day. So it's like I do a lot of the versions of the 75 hard. I just don't do it. And like I only will drink on on Saturday. But I'll do that forever, like for the year. But I like implemented that last year, kind of knowing I was about to open location 2 and open the Ninja Gym, because I was like, what it does is it forces you to just cut out all the BS that you don't need to be doing.
Yeah.
And forces you to become extremely organized and efficient at all the tasks that you do. So that's like same way as like, I was like, okay, knowing this is coming up, I've got to actually add more things to my schedule, because it'll force me to become absurdly efficient and organized and committed.
Yeah.
Cuts out all the crap you don't need.
For sure, man. Absolutely. And I mean, to be 100% honest, I think the hardest task, after I think about it a little bit more and what you're talking about, for me, is not drinking alcohol.
Yeah.
Like, cause I drink beer a lot and I like it. And so for me, like, that is really, it's been one of the game changers since I've been doing this. I've really had, because I track all my stuff on an app called Streaks. Even when I'm not doing 75 hard, I do Streaks, and I build in. It's a habit tracker that you can track up to like 18 things, and I've got years of data in there on what I'm doing. And for me, since I started doing 75 hard 3 or 4 years ago, it's really changed the game from a standpoint of how many days a year that I have zero alcohol.
Yeah.
I mean, zero, like not coming home, having a couple beers and in the evening and stuff like that. And so for me, that's kind of been a game changer there.
Okay.
And that is 100 2 5 7 9. Oh, and that shit can wear on you, man.
Yeah, 1,000%. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I lost you there for a second, but all right. So with the 75 hard or whatever program you're doing, obviously it's you have to work out twice a day, even when you're traveling. If you don't, you start over.
Yep.
So how do you make that happen when you're traveling?
It goes back to preparation. Again, I hate to be a broken record, but I mean, like you can obviously just run if you want to, or walk. I mean, it's supposed to be a challenging workout to you based on your fitness level. So, I mean, that's the beautiful thing about the program. It's all on you for personal accountability. Like no one's going to bust you for not doing it. It's just like, did you actually uphold the standard, which I think is a beautiful way to do it. But for us, we bought, we have like those SoloFlex dumbbells, the Select Tech, that you can turn up, turn down, and break them down. We take those with us on RV trips so that we've got some weights. Because everything else that we've seen is just kind of a little bulky, stuff like that. My wife's got a bench. It's funny, but we actually have a bench that we take with us. It's like a mobile bench that you can do a whole bunch of stuff with, and it's not heavy or anything like that. It travels. I think Rogue makes kind of a version of them now where they're kind of like blocks, foam type blocks. So that's all we really take, and then we take plate carriers.
Okay.
So I've got a 40-pound plate carrier. She's got a 20-pound or something like that for her. And so that's really all we take. We kind of go basics. But I mean, those 40-pound plate carriers, you can do a variety of stuff to smoke yourself if you want to.
Are you planning out your workouts? You're just kind of going well, do you plan your workouts? Well, what are you doing for training? How are you determining what your training is going to be when you're not traveling? And then how does that change when you do travel?
When I don't travel right now, I'm doing a hypertrophy cycle that's 6 days a week. And so I'm trying to lift 6 days a week. It's fast and furious. It's like 35 minutes to 50 minutes is all it takes because I'm doing it 6 days a week.
Yeah. That's pre-written out. It's a program you're following. Yeah.
Yep. So I'm not doing like CrossFit style high intensity stuff because that's what I'm doing cardio conditioning work on my other workout.
Yeah.
When we're traveling, I don't plan it out nearly as well. Just to be transparent, I do kind of whatever I want to do just to keep my body moving.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been a guy who gets really locked into a program, though. I've always just been like a functional fitness guy. That's what drew me to CrossFit eons ago. Was I was like, this is kind of cool, and it actually prepares you for like doing real shit.
Yeah.
Which is what I'm kind of about. Like I've always been an outdoors guy. Like I like loading up a pack with a shit ton of weight and just hiking, doing things like that. Like that's the kind of activity I prefer rather than structured. Like this is what I'm doing today. I just go with the flow, what I feel like. If it's a trail run, great. If it's a weighted trail run with a weight vest, okay. Or if I want to just sit out there and do some sort of made up workout that I've got with a plate carrier on.
Okay. So let's say you're flying, you're traveling, you got like a packed day. How do you get it in? Like your day's already packed.
Wake up, man.
Yeah.
Yep. There's always time. I mean, you see my stuff. I guarantee. I get up as early as like 2 a.m. sometimes. It depends on what you've got going. Like I structure my days so that I can be done with work by 8 a.m. Like that's how I've built my life for the most part.
Yeah.
And I don't say that to be like braggadocious. It sucks sometimes. Like if I've got a lot of stuff to get done, I'm up at 3 o'clock in the morning doing it because I've got other obligations that happen after 8 o'clock because we homeschool our kids. They're around all the time. I have to have the reality that I'm not going to be able to get project work or valuable quiet time once 8 a.m. hits. So it's more reactionary after that. Like I've got tenant issues. Once people hit their offices, they're bugging me for stuff.
Yeah.
And so I'm working on a more reactionary basis at that point. And so, yeah, I mean, you're saying, how do you get it in? You structure what's important to you. If it's important, you'll get it in and do it. So, and fitness is part of something that's important to me. And so it doesn't get missed.
How do you involve the kids? So obviously, when you're traveling in an RV, you're on top of each other. Do your kids go and do the workouts with you?
They do sometimes. They have the freedom and flexibility to do whatever they want. They like seeing us do them sometimes. I mean, it's usually hit and miss, 50-50. Two of them will stick around and do some stuff for a minute till they lose interest. They'll hang out for 15 minutes of the 45 minutes or whatever, and they'll do it. There's usually a lot of I mean, the beautiful thing about doing RVing is that it's generally a very safe environment, and it's generally more of like a free range environment. So our kids have kind of grown up in that now, and they're pretty self-sufficient. They run around, they find a playground, they find whatever there is to do nearby.
Yeah.
And we give them that freedom to kind of run around and handle their own business. And for the most part, it works out well. I mean, you run into your issues every once in a while.
And how old's your oldest? You said
not 9.
Okay. At what point will you kind of create more structure around training for that one or for any of them? Like at what age are you like, okay, we're going to try to create some structure for you with regards to training or fitness and whatnot?
I've given that a lot of thought, honestly, because I think before I was a dad, I had these visions of like how I would do it. And I've got 3 girls and 1 boy, just so everyone knows. And so I think everybody kind of has these ideas when they have their first kids on like, oh, we're going to do X, Y, and Z. Cause we did all that. We fed our kid all natural food and ground it up. And my wife like did everything. No, our kid never had processed foods till she was like 2 years old, ever. And we did all that stuff. And then like, it gets to be a slippery slope the more kids you get, and like things just like, but to answer your question, I don't really push a bunch of stuff on them. They're very active. Like the thing that I'm adamant about is get your ass outside. And like, I don't let them sit around for the most part at all. So I just let them be kids and play and do stuff like that, because I'm still convinced that all this specialization isn't great for anybody. And we live in Texas where it's real strong. The desire to specialize is real strong. But I mean, they've done gymnastics and they've done other stuff like that. The girls have, and they'll be getting in Jiu Jitsu.
Okay.
Stuff like that is incredibly important to me, just so we dip their toe in it, get their feet wet, understand it. If they want to pursue it, great. They'll all wrestle and they'll all do jujitsu. And when they want to quit, not quit, but if they don't want to continue it, they don't have to. But they will do that. Because I'm a huge believer in jujitsu. And
do they do organized sports currently?
No.
Okay. Yeah.
Nope. They really don't have a desire to. We ask them about it. Soccer is the only thing that's really come up ever. And then baseball for my son. He wants to play baseball. We tried to get him in spring ball and we missed the signups because we were late for it, but he'll play baseball probably next year. Okay. So we shall see. But overall, we don't really structure their exercise routines or anything like that. I mean, I talked to my 9-year-old and 7-year-old about, they go on runs with me, they go out hiking with me and stuff like that. We do family hikes almost every weekend. We'll go out to state parks. They just enjoy outdoors activities. They don't necessarily, I don't know if no is the right term, but I'm just not big on getting them into a training regimen. I mean, we have a garage gym. They go out there, they lift weights, they mess around, they try to do pull-ups. But I mean, I'm just letting them do whatever they want to do. I teach them how to move properly. They come to the gym, obviously. The girls have actually done our classes, our group fitness classes at the gym, and they have done those for 2 years, 3 years, since they've been 5 years old.
Yeah. Yeah. I think like, as I have grown as a dad, I very much recognize that I don't want to early specialize them in anything. And which is kind of funny because it seems like every other parent I engage with, that's like all they can think about. Oh, I'm gonna turn my kid into a professional baseball player. He's gonna start playing, competitive baseball at the age of 5. And like my goal is to just introduce them to as many activities as I possibly can, let them find enjoyment in it. I feel like at some point they'll express maybe an interest to train more, or they could kind of get to the age where it's like, okay, now you could benefit from a more, when they start hitting puberty, 12 years old, hey, you might benefit from some more organized training here. But what I kind of struggle with is like, am I going to do it, or do I just want to like put them with one of my coaches? Do I want to be dad coach, or do I just want to be dad? Part of me just says I just want to be dad.
Yeah, I totally understand that, man. Like, I'm big on them doing whatever they want. I think my my problem, and probably why I pulled myself so far back from where my original perception of the situation was going to be, was the fact that like I watched all the other parents do what you're talking about and fucking tiger mom their kids. Like we've got a neighbor that lives nearby us that like you can hear the ping, ping, ping of him fucking hitting baseballs till like all hours of the night from the minute his dad gets home from work.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's like 7 or something. And I'm just like, that's cool. But like for me, I just hope that the kid is like, hey, dad, do you want to go do this? And not I see it go the other way too many times. And I don't need to live vicariously through my kids, because I'm having a fucking great life personally. And like, I love what I do and get to do. And I want my kids to do whatever they want to do, not without structure, not without discipline, but like, I don't need him to play Major League Baseball to feel like I've done something with my life. Like, I just want to be a great dad, and that's it.
I also feel like, to a degree, like you kind of have to protect your kids from finding their identity in their pastime, because like what I found is a lot of kids are like they love playing baseball, and they want to, and like it's cool to be on the competitive team, to have the uniforms and the fitted hats, and like it's cool to do that, and like you as a parent can kind of be like, I want to support you. But then you can also find yourself like spending your entire lives revolving around this kid's pastime. Every weekend in the summer is at baseball tournaments, and I think that's probably where I may struggle. So like, I know that's not what's good for you, but I can see my kids being like, but that's what I want to do, like, you know, and kind of like trying to navigate that situation. Was like they want to play competitive ball, and I'm kind of like, I don't know if that's the thing that we're going to be doing in 6th grade, you know.
I don't know about your area, man, but they play 100 ball games a year here, year round. Like, I mean, if you're good at baseball and you're tracking in that direction, you're gonna play 100, 110 ball games a year. I mean, we've got friends that do it, and I'm like, holy shit, that's a huge commitment.
Yep.
And for us, we have 4 kids. Is that fair?
Well, then you're like dragging the other 3 to the one kid's baseball tournaments.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I think my 7, 9-year-olds would get just as much out of playing 25 ball games a year and calling it good.
Yeah. Well, I think that's where like I would kind of lean more towards like, hey man, like if you want to play baseball, we're going to play baseball, but we're only going to play it one season.
Yep.
You know, and when you play it, if you want to play competitive baseball, like we're going to play it, but we're only going to play one season. We're not going to play it year round. We're going to do some other stuff. We're going to go on some vacations in the summertime. And that's not me sitting on a aluminum bench, eating sour straws and doing ranch sunflower seeds. Do you have like any memory that sticks out with like with regards to kind of training while on vacation or traveling that like sticks out in your head as like an interesting moment or like a difficult moment that you like had to find a way to get it in and got it in?
Sorry, bro. Hold on one second.
There you good.
Trying to see what's going on. You got me?
I got you.
Sorry, what was the question? Do I have a training memory when traveling?
Yeah. Do you have any like specific memory that sticks out in your head of like a time while traveling that you got your training in and it was like difficult, or you found a way, like anything that just sticks out as like a cool story that you could share with people?
It's just, I mean, I've got tons of stories about like just having it, like what we already talked about. I don't have anything crazy, but like getting up at 2:00 in the morning because I've got a 5 a.m. flight like, and going out and doing my workout before I left, because I know that once I fly, there's no way, the way my day's laid out, that I'm going to be able to get it in any other time throughout the day. I'm trying to think of anything cool. Oh, I do know one. I actually, this is timely. I ran the 4x4x48 last year.
Yeah.
Goggins thing of 4 hours of running, or 4 miles of running every 4 hours for 48 straight hours. We had an all-day mastermind in Dallas the day it started, and it started at 10 p.m. on Friday night, and it ran through 8 p.m. on Sunday, or 10 p.m. I guess on Sunday, so we drove back from Dallas that day. So I spent 4 hours in the car, got back home at like 9:30 at night, and the first run was at 10. And I started that like 30 minutes later, and then ended up running 50 miles that weekend on like no sleep. But that was a travel story that you just prioritize what you want to do, right? Like I wanted to go to the mastermind. I attended that event, did the necessary travel, and didn't allow it to interfere with my stuff. That was one of the harder things that we did, not because of it physically, just because of the amount of time it took and the fact that I was home. Because it was a large commitment of my weekend to have to run every 4 hours, and you figure it takes you 40 to 60 minutes to run the four miles. I mean, I allocated 40 minutes for each one, which is about what it took. And then you have the downtime in between to do whatever, but you're not really going to sleep. You're not really doing anything. You can't really get into anything because you've got to go again 3 hours later.
And how long did it take you to recover from that? Like, just from a sleep perspective?
One day.
So once you got a good night's rest, you felt good?
I slept Sunday night, and then I was sore that next day. Structurally, it made my hips and stuff sore. And then sleeping Monday night, I was fine by Tuesday.
Okay. Very cool. I guess that's something like to take away for people's like you may have this crappy day where you had to wake up at 2 a.m. to get your workout in, and you're going to be sloggy, kind of feel like crap. But once you get a good night's sleep, like, you'll be fine.
Yeah. And then the interesting thing about that, just like 75 hard, just like the other stuff that I do, it's about keeping commitments to yourself. Because the hardest thing about that 4x48 wasn't running 4 miles. It never was that bad. I had blisters and stuff, but the physical part wasn't bad at all. It was just like, why wouldn't I just quit? Like, why am I doing this on Saturday night at 2 a.m.?
Yeah.
Like, there's literally no one out here. There's no reason to do it. If I shut it down, who the hell's going to know?
Yeah.
25 miles or 20 miles is fine. Like, you've done enough.
Yeah.
And that was the hardest part. Like, once I got through Saturday and I'd went like 28 miles and done like 7 rotations or whatever of it, I was kind of like, why not shut it down, man?
Yeah.
Like, who cares? I can have a Sunday with the family. I could do whatever I want to do. And it goes back to kind of, the overarching theme that I've been trying to impress is that, like, I made the commitment to do it. And so, like, there was no way I was not going to do it.
Yeah.
And so keeping those commitments with myself is what leads me to have the level of preparation and like discipline and to stay on track while we're on the road. And it's about keeping those promises to yourself, because realistically, there's no one holding me to any standard besides myself.
Yeah. Well, when you become the person who will do what you say you're going to do, that just kind of solidifies who you are. And it makes like every future decision a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Versus the flip flop of that is like, if you keep justifying, like, I'm going on vacation, like, I don't need to train this week, or there's a couple of days of not eating right. If you just continue to justify letting yourself off the hook.
Yep.
From doing the things you know you're supposed to be, then that kind of becomes who you are, which makes every future decision more likely to be letting yourself off the hook and justifying it.
Yep. It compounds in either direction.
Yeah.
And I've done it both ways. And I get much closer to the person I want to be and the goals that I want to have and living the life that I want to live when I hold myself to the standard that is doing the positive things, regardless of who's watching me.
Yeah. All right. Final question. Any hacks or like specific things? Maybe it's the Streak app, but any like hacks or like specific things you're like, man, this was kind of a game changer for me when it came to making sure I was getting my training in or nutrition in while traveling.
I think you just have to prioritize it. Like Streaks is a good one. Don't get me wrong, but like, I don't think that matters when you're actually traveling. Like, I think you have to make a decision and a determination to know that, like, if you want the body composition that you want, if you want the health that you want, you have to understand that it's the small decisions on a regular basis. And you've got to stop making compromises for every little thing that goes on, because if you want it, like I'm all about having it all. Like I want to have it all life. And I want to expand every portion of my life. And if that is in fact true, I have to follow through on those little things. Like if I want to travel 2 weeks out of every month or for a month at a time, and health is also important to me, and I don't want to be a fast and a slob, like I have to uphold a standard with regards to fitness. You can't just take those, like you were talking about, you can't just take the 5 days off because you've got a long weekend here and there. If you're choosing to have a long weekend every fucking weekend, like, because then you get this slippery slope where you no longer have it all. So now you've chosen to travel all the time, but also be a sloth and have a terrible body composition and health, right? Like you can't do both. So you have to structure the life to meet the needs that you, or the goals that you aspire to. And it starts with just one small decision at a time. So if you're going out of town for the weekend, you like good, better, best, man. Like if you're going, even if it's to party, man, like I'm not putting anybody down. I've done it all. And I enjoy like unwinding, and like I'm not a super disciplined person. I understand the way that like this podcast has went, but like I am very, very disciplined on what I'm supposed to be disciplined on, that prioritizes me moving forward and making progress. I am completely unhinged when I allow myself to kind of chill out.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's a balance of being able to get back in the rails as fast as you can, and understanding that about yourself, and having that mental fortitude to be like, good enough. I've given myself that permission for that period of time. Now it's time to get back on track. Or if I get my 2 workouts in today, I'm going to have a few beers tonight. Like you pay it back in different ways, right?
Awesome. All right, brother. Man, I appreciate you coming on the podcast. Hopefully, I think people will find that very helpful when it comes to traveling and just hearing the necessity of being disciplined in it, and not giving yourself the permission to slack off just because you're traveling. I think people a lot of times are looking for the permission to break the habit they know they shouldn't break. And so I think it's helpful for someone to be like, this isn't a justifiable reason to not do it. You still need to get it in.
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe it's something as simple as you're not laying in bed at 9 o'clock in the hotel room. Instead, you're going down to the treadmill and doing 10,000 steps.
Yeah.
Like just offset that shit with something. Like give up something. If it's Netflix, like what's going to make you better? Like for me, I've given up almost all sports. Like that changed everything for me. Like I used to be a college football guy, and I used to spend all day, every day, Saturday during college football season. You could find me in the same place from the time game day started at 7 a.m. like all day long. I would justify every bit of it, food, drinks, all of it. And like adding that, like getting rid of TV almost altogether and sports, like really added hours to my day. So like, what are you doing that is meaningless in your life to add in meaningful things?
That's perfect takeaway. I love it. Listen on that, brother.
All right. Thanks, bro. I appreciate you having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming on, Jeff. MBS Fitness Radio out.
Thank you for listening to NBS Fitness Radio. If you enjoyed the podcast, be sure to share it with your friends, follow us on social media, and check out our website at www.nbsfitness.net. Hit the subscribe button and tune in next time for more NBS Fitness Radio.